Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Namaduhu wa nasalli ala Rasul al-Kareem. Viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the human being for a purpose and told him very clearly why he created him. So any human activity that interferes with that purpose for the creation of the human being is ruinous, damages his faith, his iman. One day Rasulullah saw some Sahaba, they were laughing, and he told them that if you know what I know, you would laugh less and cry more, something to that effect. So human life is very short, and this is the only opportunity for a human being to prepare for his akhirah. The human being has been sent in this world not to waste his time. The human being has been sent to this world not to waste his resources. Whatever blessings Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him, he has to use those to prepare for his akhirah. How many times we see people who made so much effort, worked so hard for this dunya, for this life, and when they were about to leave this world, how much remorse, regret they had, and all the things they had worked hard, so hard for, they are leaving all those things behind. And where they are going, they made no preparation for that. There are many stories about kings who were about to die and they had this feeling of sadness, of regret, that their lives had been wasted in activities that brought no benefit to them. So this is very important reminder. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned in the hadith something to the effect, in matters of dunya, in this life, look at people who are below you, and that will make you grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in matters of deen, in the matters of religion, look at people who are above you, and that will make you concerned. Normally what we see is that people are all the time looking at people who are above them in matters of dunya and resources and money and power. And that makes them greedy, that makes them want more. It makes them compete and waste their time in activities which will take them away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In matters of deen, they become satisfied. They become satisfied with whatever they are doing, whatever little they are doing. And they look at people who are doing less than them. So they're doing the opposite. In matters of deen, they're looking at people who are below them. In matters of dunya, they're looking at people who are above them. And that makes them depressed when they see other people who have more than them, and they become ungrateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said something to the effect that if you're content with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, you'll be the richest person on this earth. So a person's attitude, his thinking, will affect the way he lives his life. A person who's looking at others and trying to compete with others, he's spent his life doing things that will take him away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why there is so much corruption in this world is because people are competing with each other. Why nations are fighting wars is because they're competing with each other. They're trying to dominate, they're trying to control. They think the winning in this life is the real winning. And these things take people away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why things like music and poetry and such activities not looked upon with favor in Islam, because these activities take a person away from the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make him forget why he's been sent. The Prophet ﷺ said something to the effect, I would pray to Allah, if I was not afraid you would stop burying your dead, I would pray to Allah to show you the condition of the people in the grave, what happens to them in the grave. So people think when a person is dead and he's buried, he's resting in peace. That is not true. How he lived his life is now going to be, the results are going to come out. The first step in the akhirah is the grave. It is said that Usman radiallahu anhu, when he would go to the cemetery, to the graveyard, he would cry a lot, and people would ask why he's crying, and he would say that this is the first stop, the first stage of the akhirah. If this is good, then the other stages will be good too. So this is the reality. This is the reality, and this is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in one hadith something to the effect that laughter, too much laughter, damages, kills the heart. See, some people are making jokes all the time, and they think this is good for their health. And this is another deception of the shaitan. These kind of things take people away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Health also comes from Allah. Happiness also comes from Allah. Just laughing and making jokes unnecessarily and thinking this is good for a person's health is also foolishness. This is not a very wise person. You see so many comedy programs and people are watching those, and they are enjoying that, but they don't understand the reality. The moment death comes to a person, he sees the reality, but it's too late for him to do anything. When he's able to do something, the devil, the shaitan, makes him forget his purpose. And he keeps doing things until death comes, and then he has regrets. He has remorse. He wants to come back to this life, and he wants to do the good deeds that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told him to do. But then he's not able to come back. If the dead could talk, they would tell the people that don't be deceived. What we have seen is real. So don't waste your time. How many people we hear about, they're retired and now they're spending their time playing golf, traveling around the world, and doing activities that do nothing to their akhirah and has no preparation for the akhirah. This is why the Quran is a reminder. It's a book of reality. It keeps telling people to use their intelligence, to use their wisdom, to use their knowledge for their benefit. Allah wants to benefit the human being. Allah did not create the human being just for a few years so he could enjoy himself and die and then be forgotten. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put great value on this human being. But the human being, if he's not properly guided, he will waste his life. He's wasted time. And we can see now, if you just go to a cemetery, to a graveyard and see, the graves will tell you the story. These people, at one time, they lived, and they lived a life of forgetfulness. And now they are seeing the reality, but they are not able to come back. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants the human being to be successful. And the only way of success is to keep Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in mind all the time. Rasulullah Sallallahu said, keep the company of those who, when you see them, they remind you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see, there are some people, when you look at them, you're reminded of fahashi, immorality. There's some people, you see them, you're reminded of wealth. So they're all different types of people in this world. So the ones that one should keep close to, the company of the people who, when you see them, you're reminded of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're reminded of the akhirah. It is said the iman of a human being is always fluctuating. It's not constant. If it's in the right company, in the right environment, it will increase. If it's in the wrong environment, in the company of people who are neglectful, who are not connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the iman will go down. So this is where the choice is. Human beings have to choose their company. There are people who spend their time reading books and books and books, which bring them no benefit, even in this world. They're doing that because they have time and they don't know what else to do with their time. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them a book which is full of wisdom, which is full of rewards. Just imagine how many people who, planting gardens and making palaces and homes and all kinds of things for their pleasure, but they're not aware that one subhanallah, just recitation of one subhanallah, gives a person a tree in Jannah, in paradise, which is so big, it is said that if a horse runs for 500 years, it will not go out from the shadow of that tree. What about that garden? It is said one day, Sulaiman al-Islam, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had blessed with the biggest kingdom, was flying on his throne. And somebody looked up at his throne and he said, Subhanallah. And Sulaiman al-Islam came down. He said, tell me what you said. He said, I just said Subhanallah. He said, that one Subhanallah is worth more than my throne and all my things. Something to that effect. Because that reward of one Subhanallah is so much, it's forever. Whereas the things of the dunya are only till the time one person dies. But this is the knowledge that comes to us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His prophets. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the Sahaba, his companions, about the life that was coming. The Sahaba didn't make fun, like it's common now. People talk about Jannah and talk about Jahannam as if it's some kind of a joke. This is shaitan, devil's way of making people go away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They spend time and their energies and their intelligence on poetry and music and song and other activities that will bring no rewards to them. See, devil, shaitan makes people pleased with whatever activity they are doing. A person might think he's giving a lot of charity to the poor, which is a good deed, and he thinks that is enough. People may not realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given rules. He has laid down a criteria. He's given rules for success. And how many people in the world are aware of that? This is a very grave, serious matter. It concerns the eternity of the people. If you go on the internet, you go on YouTube, see how many programs and how many, videos there are on so many things, all types of things. And how much of that will be of value in the akhirah. It may It may be entertaining for the time being. A person may have fun, may enjoy it, but the time will be gone. So it is said that one should not give up a good deed for a little bit of pleasure, because the pleasure will go away and the deed will remain. So a person commits a sin just for a little bit of pleasure. The pleasure will go, but the sin will remain. On the other hand, if a person doesn't do a good deed, like doing salat, because of some effort, the effort will go away, but the deed will remain. Like in the month of Ramadan, the fasting, the people who fasted in the month of Ramadan, the time is gone, but the deed is there. The deed is now in the record. And the deed will be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the reward for that will be forever. But the ones who did not do it because of the hardship, that time has passed, but the deed was not done. So they avoided the hardship, but they lost the benefit of the deed. And the loss, of course, is so much that they will realize that when they leave this life. So this is the purpose of guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has given a book of guidance. He sent Rasulullah as a guide for all humanity. It's a very serious matter. This is a need for mankind. Mankind's need is not just restricted to food, clothing, and shelter. People are brought up to think that the only needs they have is to have good transport, a good house, a good, enjoyable life. This is all their needs. This is the need only for this life. But human being is now going to be transferred. He came from the realm of souls into this world, and he is now here on a trial. He's on probation. When he leaves this life, he goes into the next stage, and that stage is the grave. And after that stage, there is the akhira, the final stage. There's no other stage after that. That's the place of reward and punishment. And the result will be based on what he did in this life. This is the need of all human beings, to stay in the company, to stay in the environment of people of Iman, people of faith, and to learn things that are pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If people are on that track, they should be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if they are not on that track, they should be concerned, and they should make a U-turn, come back to Allah. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us for a purpose. And the purpose He has stated. It's not left to anybody's guesswork. This purpose is very clear. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that so many times, so clearly in the Quran. The human being is better than the angel if he sticks to the purpose. And if he does not stick to the purpose, he's worse than an animal. Because the animal is not going to be accountable, is not going to be questioned. Whereas the human being will be questioned. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will question him about his life, how he spent his life, how he spent his youth, how he earned his income, how he spent his income, how much did he act on the knowledge that he had. And then the results will be announced. And the people who are successful, they are the wise ones. They understood the purpose. And the ones who did not understand the purpose will not be able to come back another time and then start all over again. So the Quran keeps warning people. That's why the prophets are called warners. They are warners and also bearers of glad tidings. Both functions have been given to them. And the Ummah of Rasulullah ﷺ has to do the same job. It is said that when Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu became a Muslim, he asked Rasulullah ﷺ what I should do. He said, you do what I do. That is calling people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Calling people to the truth. Calling people to the reality which is coming. And not to be deceived by the present temporary reality. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the understanding of the reality and help us to follow in the footsteps of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wa akhir dawana in alhamdulillah rabbil alameen.